sui dettagli che abbiamo raccolti da queste esperienze in diverse città in Europa su il mettere in servizio i bus a fuel cell. Adesso ci sono diverse città, come avete visto anche stamattina, che si occupano già da anni di integrare questi bus, e abbiamo oggi con noi la coordinatrice del progetto a Londra, che fa già le prime esperienze da 2 anni e fa parte del progetto CHIC. CHIC è Clean Hydrogen in European Cities, un'esperienza che ha creato più di 3 anni fa di 5 città in Europa, di cui 2 italiani, uno a Milano con 3 bus che adesso sono arrivati per essere messi in servizi verso giugno-luglio di quest'anno, e Bolzano, anche lì 5 bus, come in tutte le altre città, sono 5 o più bus messi in servizi durante questo progetto. Sono 5 anni come quello di High Velocity, e uno degli obiettivi è anche interessare quelle città che sono interessate già nella tecnologia, che vogliono sapere di più come magari nei prossimi anni creare un budget e anche la formazione dei tecnici per sostenere un'esperienza di questo tipo. E per questo CHIC, nel programma di disseminazione e comunicazione, ha creato un pacchetto di informazioni di cui sono inseriti anche i workshop, come oggi, una breve workshop che vogliamo anche presentare a voi, che descrive tutti i dettagli sul bus, sulle prime esperienze, i primi dati che hanno raccolti durante i servizi, e anche il funzionamento del rifornimento dell'idrogeno di questi bus. Manutenzione, adazione del deposito a questi bus, che in realtà non sono così diverso come prima, però ci sono aspetti che ovviamente dovrebbe essere in considerazione per far sì che tutto funziona. Così sono molto contenta che Harland della Londra, che è stato molto vicina all'esperienza dei bus a Londra, si parla sta pomeriggio di queste esperienze non solo a Londra. Kate, it's your turn. Yeah, I've introduced you as the coordinator, also referring to the presentations this morning, that there are actually quite a few women in this sector having tasks in coordinating, if not the project itself, like the big CHIC, in coordinating the local project. I'll put up your presentation. Hold on. Yes, there we go. Okay.
Thank you, Marika. Okay. So, first of all, who am I? I'm from a consultancy in London that operates in the low-carbon energy space. In particular, we do lots of work in low-carbon transport, and that runs from the start of from the strategy behind the project, through to developing the project, through to implementing the project. And as Marika said previously, I was the project manager for the hydrogen bus project in London during the delivery phase. Okay. One particular organisation that I'm significantly involved in is the Hydrogen Bus Alliance, and both as a representative for London with Mike Weston, the director, but also from a consultancy role. And it takes all the operators together who have interest in deploying hydrogen buses and have experience of deploying hydrogen buses to share lessons between the different organizations. We came together in 2008 to discuss what are the next steps in hydrogen buses and how we could trial them on the roads. And together, when we came together, we ended up committing to be involved in the Clean Hydrogen in Cities project. So many of the operators you see here are also involved in the Clean Hydrogen in Cities. So as you can see, I think Monika mentioned it earlier that the CHIC cities and also the Hydrogen Bus Alliance members are planning to deploy about 65 buses on the road. And this includes a very large fleet in Whistler, but also some more local projects in Bolzano and in Italy and Milan, and then across Central and also Northern Europe with Oslo as well. So, the hydrogen fuel cell buses around the world today, what do we see? As we've mentioned, the Clean Hydrogen Cities project has hydrogen buses that are deployed across 7 cities here. And then we also have the High Velocity project, of which we're here today to talk about. And we also have some independent projects within Europe. I think we can safely say that there are a growing number of projects, and in particular the technology is moving forwards from the early phases where people were testing fuel cells in buses to see if they could run in public service, to looking to achieving hybrid operation and looking particularly to try and achieve service equivalent to diesel vehicles. This is one thing that we have been very focused on in London. We were involved in 2003 in the first trials in Cute and High Fleet Cute, testing the first buses in public service, but they were very carefully nested trials, by which I mean that they operated for a limited number of hours per day, and they did not have the full range we require from our diesel buses in London. In London, we actually operate around 20 hours a day on a normal route, so it is a very demanding service. There's very long range requirement, which limits the number of technologies which are available to us. The first trials in 2002 proved to us that fuel cells could operate the buses, but now with our new buses we are looking at the range, and we've managed to prove that the fuel cell hybrid buses that we have under CHIC can do the same range that is required of a diesel bus. They can do about 200 kilometers, certainly over 200 kilometers a day. The range is actually 320 kilometers specified in the contract. And by the end of the year, we will have a first bus route in London operating only on hydrogen buses. We are not the only city who is involved in CUTE. We also work very closely with other partners, who include Hamburg, who has been very instrumental in the hydrogen bus world and has very ambitious plans moving forwards for development. They currently have delivered 2 new hydrogen buses and will be deploying up to 10 by the end of the year. Other partners in CHIC include Cologne with the 18-meter bus. The buses I've shown previously are 12 meters, but here we have Cologne's 18-meter bus. And also Ruta have the Van Hool bus, which I think you have experienced today, 13-meter vehicle. So within the project, within the CHIC project, we have a wide range of manufacturers and also a range of bus sizes and bus route characteristics, from very cold climates in Oslo through to warmer climates, Milan, for example. And here you see the Milan bus, which is a Daimler bus, Mercedes bus, and the same bus is also deployed in Aarau in Switzerland within the project. So Milan will receive 3 buses, and Aarau has 2. So has 5, but 2 are currently in service. Within CHIC, we also have an international partner, that is BC Transit in Whistler, and in Canada, and they deploy the largest fleet of any group within the project. They have 20 buses in operation in Whistler. And you can see also, I think we've heard a presentation from Jamie Levin, that there are also other projects throughout the US, and significantly there's projects in the Far East and as well in Brazil. So it is not just Europe who is active in the fuel cell bus area. So as I mentioned, the BC Transit trial is one of the largest fleets in the world today of hydrogen buses. They have 20 buses operating, and we work very closely with between Canada and London because we have similar bus designs and systems. They also have a very large refueling station, which has been shown excellent reliability since the start of operation. I think they were only shut once so far because of a very severe avalanche. So no problems with the technical ability of the refueling station in Whistler. And I think I will leave this slide because I think we have had a presentation here before from California. So I'll leave that to Jamie. One very important topic we have learnt through our time operating in hydrogen buses is how important it is to share lessons between the different cities, and particularly between the different operators. So in CHIC, we have a system which is that we have 3 phases of cities. We have what is called a phase 0 city, one who has prior experience of operating hydrogen buses and perhaps started earlier with their deployment of buses than the other cities. So for this, BC Transit in Canada is one example, and so is Hamburg, with lots of experience in the field. They share their lessons with the cities who are currently deploying new buses. So this includes London, for example, Aarhus, Oslo and Milan. And these buses are funded under the CHIC project. The last aspect is our phase 2 city approach. Unfortunately, Frankfurt was not here to speak here today, but they represent phase 2 cities in the CHIC project. And by this we mean, as a project, we look to share our lessons with future cities who might be interested in deploying hydrogen buses. So a large part of the project was to develop some lessons learnt from the phase 0 and phase 1 cities, and to share these to prevent the lack of information barrier which is often reported to us from people trying to learn about fuel cell buses and trying to start projects. We think the best way to do this is often to talk one-on-one with interested people, interested transit agencies who would like to start a project. But alongside this, I think, as Marika mentioned, we have developed some guidance documents to explain the basics of running hydrogen bus projects, what problems you might encounter, and why you might be involved in, why you might wish to deploy hydrogen bus projects in the first place. I think it's very important for everyone to understand where the market currently is when you start a project, so you have the right expectations for the technology. So the guidance documents include information on what is currently available, both in the terms of buses, but also in terms of infrastructure. And where possible, we've tried to provide some contact people for you to speak to gain some real-world examples of how a project might look like. So this is just a brief outline of what the guidance documents contain. You can contact, at the end I'll show you some contact information for of how to obtain the guidance documents through us. The introduction to the basics of why you might do the project, guidelines on how to deliver a successful project, and of course the all-important real-world examples of what happens in the field. So here is some contact information. You can, as well as having the guidance documents, you can call the numbers that are shown on the board. As part of the project, we have 2 helplines, one for the buses and one for the infrastructure. So if you have technical questions about starting a hydrogen bus project, or technical questions about a particular bus project, you can call one of the 2 numbers listed above. and you can also contact us through the CHIC project website.